The OnePlus Open and the Z Fold 6 are two of the biggest foldable phones in North America and two of the best options that people have in terms of a foldable phone or a multitasking beast. A lot of people might be wondering how these phones compare to each other and if somebody should get the OnePlus Open, which released last year, or should they get Samsung's latest offering in the foldable space, the Z Fold 6. I'm going to be doing a series of breaking down the differences and comparing these two devices in any way that I possibly can. So in this first video, I'm going to be comparing multitasking. So let's get into that. Last year, the OnePlus Open introduced a new form of multitasking called Open Canvas, which allows users to simultaneously open up the three apps in full screen views, and you can resize them to two different layouts. What makes it different and unique is how you jump between the three apps rather than mainly viewing them all on one screen at the same time. You can view them all on the screen at the same time by pinching, but you definitely don't want to do this all the time because it makes everything really small. The Z Fold 6 has a more traditional triple split screen that displays all three apps on the screen at once the whole time. What makes it special is the way that you can customize the layout and resize all the windows to exactly how you want them. Every window has a bar on top of it that turns blue to signify which app is in focus, and this also helps you know what app will be impacted by your back swipe gestures. You can also tap those bars to swap the apps in that specific spot, or you can expand the app into full screen, drag it into another part of the split screen layout, turn it into a floating window, or just close it. Going on further, both of these phones feature floating windows that function very differently. The OnePlus Open's version is accessible from the edge panel, the taskbar, and by swiping and holding up while in a single app. On the Fold 6, you also have access to floating windows through the edge panel and the taskbar, but instead of swiping and holding up, you can swipe from the top right corner to enter floating windows in any size that you desire it to be in. There's also a lot more ways to enter floating windows on the Z Fold 6, like dragging from a notification to enter floating window or split screen, but I won't talk about all of them just to save time. The overall differences in multitasking continue as you use each of these phones. The OnePlus Open gives you two modes where the floating window is either in focus or stuck to the side of the screen. You can also push the floating window off to the side and then bring it back quickly when you need it. You can resize the window, but it stays in the app's native aspect ratio. You also can't use floating windows with every single app, unless you enable force activities to be resizable right here and enable non-resizable in multi-window. So these two settings allow you to actually use any app in floating windows and also resize any app in open canvas, but you are still limited to just two versions of resizing. So you can shrink and you can expand, and that's it. But at least now you can do that with all apps if you enable these settings. You just got to make sure you turn on developer settings. With Samsung pop-up view or floating windows, you can resize them to any size that you want. You can also make them easier to grab by increasing the size of the bar, adjust the transparency, and also toss them off to the side while they're still open and running. And this feature works with any app on Samsung phones. Another feature that is probably the biggest difference to me is that you can open any amount of floating windows at one time on a Samsung phone, even while you're in split screen. So you could potentially have up to like 10 apps open on your screen at one time. Even if that's not something that you would want to do, it's nice to have the ability to do so. Going back to split screen, you can also enter that mode with swipe gestures on each phone. 2-finger swipes from the bottom of either screen on the Z Fold 6 will allow you to do a top and bottom split. Additionally, you can also swipe from either side of the main screen to open the app on the chosen side that you swipe from. This also does work on the cover display, but the phone needs to be rotated. For the OnePlus Open, you can swipe from the top to the bottom with 2 fingers to start split screen. One thing I really like is how it shows you your home screen when selecting the app. This also allows for quick muscle memory and quick split screen launching because you know where your apps are. On the flip side, Samsung also lets you search for another app in your phone, but it's in a specific kind of window. Overall, they both handle multitasking better than any other foldable phone on the market. The Z Fold 6, however, has a whole computer level interface in its back pocket with Samsung DeX that takes multitasking even deeper. Which phone style of multitasking do you prefer? The OnePlus Open style of multitasking is really cool and fresh in the foldable space. Another interesting limitation with the OnePlus Open is that the swipe gestures are not the same on both screens. So for example, the 2-finger swipe to enter split screen, you cannot do that on the outer display for some reason. And then you also have the off-screen gestures where on the outer display, if you draw a shape with your fingers, you can set it to open a specific app, but the inner display does not have that option, unfortunately. On the Z Fold 6, you have all the same features and you can access all the same gestures that you have on the inner display with the outer display. The only difference is that while the outer display is in the vertical position, you cannot do the side swipe to enter into split screen, but if you rotate the phone, you can swipe from either side of the display just like you would on the inner display. So there is that slight limitation and the fact that you can't do triple split on the outer display, but those ones kind of make sense because the display is smaller, whereas with the OnePlus Open, I would have wished that the gestures would be the same, or at least a modified version on the outer display. Overall, both of these devices go hard when it comes to multitasking, and like I said earlier, I think they are the best in terms of foldable multitasking. The OnePlus Open's Open Canvas is really nice and smooth and it's enjoyable. However, I do prefer the Z Fold's multitasking just because It's more flexible. You can manipulate all the screens to any size that you want, and you could just go crazy with the floating windows and stuff like that. I just prefer how it works on there, but I will never knock someone for preferring the OnePlus Open's open canvas because, like I said, I think it's cool. I just feel like it's too limited for me in terms of flexibility. And yeah, let me know what you think in the comments below, which one you prefer, what kinds of features you would like to see on both of them. Personally, I would love it if Samsung added a feature like open canvas, just so that people have the option, and for OnePlus to add a feature like Samsung's triple split screen where you have the option to toggle between that and open canvas. I feel like just more features on both these devices would be good for everybody and just allow people to choose what they want, regardless of what hardware or software they choose. I think that would be really cool. And yeah, this is just the first video of my comparison between the OnePlus Open and the Z Fold 5. I'm going to be comparing more things like just the general software experience, the build, the charging speed, I'm going to compare so much more. So make sure you subscribe so that you don't miss any of those videos, because I got a lot on the way. And also let me know in the comments below what you would want to see, what you want me to compare. The OnePlus Open is a really good foldable phone, and I think a lot of people have hopped on that from Samsung, but I still feel like the Z Fold series are, the best foldable phones overall, in my opinion, like just because of the software and the combination of what you get for the phones. I know the Z Fold 6 was very similar to previous models, however, it is still a really solid device. It is unfortunate that Samsung didn't upgrade the battery and didn't change the cameras for 3 years now, but I still think the Z Fold 6 is a really good device. And like I said, in my opinion, I think it is the best foldable phone in North America that we have. It's just the most complete package when you talk about everything that you get with it. You got the S Pen, you got wireless charging, you got the slimness and the same weight as the vegan leather OnePlus Open now, which is really good. And then it's just an overall complete package. I know some people don't like the outer display, but for me, the outer display on the Z Fold 6 is just really nice, and the one-hand ability is what makes me choose it over the OnePlus Open. So honestly, they are very close in terms of like what makes a foldable phone really good. So let me know in the comments which one you like better and why. I know obviously a lot of people are going to say because of the screen size, but let me know what else you like about the OnePlus Open more than the Z Fold 6, and also even just like the multitasking, like which do you prefer? Do you prefer open canvas and the way the OnePlus Open handles like floating windows or stuff like that, or do you prefer Samsung's version of multitasking? Like which one? And if you are a Z Fold 6 user, what are some features that you would want Samsung to add to the Z Fold 7? Like for example, something that I would really want is faster charging speeds, because we've been at 25 watts for too long, and just the camera performance. An upgraded camera would be really nice. Like if we got S24 Ultra cameras on a foldable phone, I feel like that would be amazing. However, foldable phones are not only about the cameras, so I do really want flagship cameras, but I can kind of hug that and just, accept that they won't have flagship cameras, or at least not yet. We're getting there soon. As you see with the Vivo and the Automagic V3, the OnePlus Open has good cameras. Like we're pushing it, but I still haven't seen flagship cameras yet. So it would be really nice. So let me know what you are looking forward to and what you really want on foldable phones, and maybe even specifically on Z Fold devices. But that is it for this video. We are out. Peace.